the future. And we the name of the future. We the name of the future. And we the name of the future. Hey. Yeah. Shout out to Big Tez, man. And Big O. It's still a nation, man. Yeah. Big Tez. Big O. You know what it is, man. It's still a nation, man. Big O. Yeah. Big O. Every night on Monday night, man. Hey. 7 to 8 on Monday night. Big O. Big Tez. And this is Stun. And this is still a nation. Big Tez. Big O. It's Big Tez. Big O. It's still a nation. Big Tez. Big O. Big Tez. Big O. It's still a nation, man. Yeah. This is Stun. Big O. Yeah, I had to say it was a Stun, man. You know. Cause you know, it is a Stun, man. Yeah. Big Tez. Big O. Big Tez. Big Tez. Yeah.
Live broadcast. Not a good game. Not a good game, Big Tez.
Yeah, McGinney's was. I want to thank you guys at McGinney's for inviting Big Tez, Big O out there for Still a Nation Live. You guys were epic. I mean, the things that were happening out there was epic. This was something that couldn't be missed. And you guys, you've seen us here on video live. You should have seen us the other night. We apologize. We had some problems there with the video side of it, but we did catch the audio side. But here we are. Here we are again, Big O.
That's right. You can catch the audio side of it as well if you want to, just go back to the website and check out the radio broadcast. Like Big Tez said, we had some problems with the Wi-Fi, couldn't do the video, but here we are. We're at Big Tez's mansion in Rochester, and we're doing the show from here. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of people to thank, Big Tez.
Yes, there's definitely a lot of people to thank. You know what? We want to start off by thanking Kathy Buckwell. And Kathy was actually a big part of this, coming out and representing for Still a Nation Live, and representing for Rochester Steeler Fan Club.
That's right. She runs the fan club, and she runs it well. Basically, what we're going to do is explain to you a little something about what Kathy and the organization does. We have 50-50 raffles. People donate prizes to give away for the raffle. People, you buy raffle tickets. And we like to say in McGinney's last week, they raised almost $500 for this month's charity.
Wow.
I think it's Golisano's Children's Fund. Could be. Or since it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, maybe that money's going, the proceeds are going to that as well. And we just want to thank all the great Steeler fans out there. Unfortunately, the Steelers did not produce as well as the fan club here in Rochester, New York.
Yeah, and I mean, besides the atmosphere, which was electric and everything else, the Steelers came out on the short end of the stick. They played the game against the Tennessee Titans, and the Titans played, but the Steelers, they didn't want to show up last night. Or Thursday night, I should say.
No, they didn't play. And just before I forget, Patty, if you're watching the show, I got my Troy Polamalu jersey on just for you. And if folks at home, if you don't know who Patty is, go to our website. We did a little story on her. Nice, very nice woman. Had a shrine there set up in a booth.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, she only had part of the shrine, so probably that's why we lost. Patty, thanks a lot out there. Next time, bring the whole shrine. And like I said, Big Sale hooked us up good. The fans are great, and it's just a wonderful time. McGinney's, 2246 East River Road, Henrietta.
Oh, definitely.
Come on out. We got some great food. Sal's got some great food for you. Look at that. I'm hungry already. Look at that, folks. If you're at home watching this, you got to love the food. You got to love it. Yum, yum. That's all I can say.
Yes. Actually, let me also give out the website, you guys, again. We're at www.steelnationlive.net. You got to get in there, check out our videos, our audio broadcasts. We're all there. You got to be in there to see us here. Big Tez doing our thing, and you know what? There's a lot of things that's been happening this weekend in the NFL, and we're going to
a lot of things. A lot of things going on. Some news going on. But once again, let me take a step back because we want to give the folks out at home the website, the Steeler Nation Fan Club in Rochester. You got to go to www.steelerclubrochester.com. Or if you want to email Kathy, you can go to steelerclubrochester@gmail.com. And, folks, you go to our website, we'll have that posted just in case if you're not watching the show live or you missed it, you're just walking in on your computer right now and you just come to the website, we'll post it.
Oh, yeah.
So, like you said, Big Tiz, there's a lot of things going on in news. Remember Mike Holgram?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Mike Holgram was the president of the Cleveland Browns. Now, Mike Holcomb had this big plan that he was going to come to Cleveland. He was going to take over, and he was going to fix the woes and the problems of the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
Unfortunately, he is not doing those duties anymore. Mike Holcomb is leaving the Browns. He's not going to finish this job that he started. The new Cleveland Brown owner, Jimmy Haslam III, okay,
Right.
the third, said Tuesday that Holmgren was out as team president, although Super Bowl winning coach will remain with the franchise to help in the transition. Now, Haslam was introduced as the Browns' new boss after, the 32 teams in NFL had to come together and approve of the $1 billion purchase from the owner, Randy Lerner. Moments later, Haslam announced that former Eagles president Joe Banner would become the CEO, and that move takes effect October 25th when the sale is concluded.
Right.
Now, that's a steal.
Oh, yeah.
A professional football team, $1 billion? Oh, boy. Moving on to not-so-good news. The Philadelphia Eagles had to fire their defensive coordinator, Juan Castillo. Now, Juan's been an intricate part of the Eagles for over 18 years. Now, the firing came after the Eagles blew a 10-point lead against the Detroit Lions in an overtime loss. Now, he served with the Eagles, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, over 18 years, and he was a personal friend of Andy Reid. Now, what I don't understand is Andy Reid was interviewed after,
right,
and all he had was great things to say about him, blah, 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 whatnot, but this guy is out of a job. So you're going to have to explain this one to me, all right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he wants him to leave on good terms, maybe he doesn't, I don't know. And continue on, the Bounty Gate.
Whoa.
We all know about the Bounty Gate with New Orleans Saints and whatnot. That is not going to go away anytime soon, Big Tiz.
Right.
And it all stems up from the Jonathan Vilma with his court case against Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And what basically was going on with that, Big Tiz, is that when you're in a court, you're going to get somebody criminal, civil case. Each side has their evidence. And what this case is saying or Vilma's saying that he's not seeing any of the evidence.
Right.
It's called disclosure for those lawyers at home watching the show, and you know what I'm talking about. The other side, Goodell and his team, has not disclosed all the evidence against Vilma, one of the players who's been suspended. Now, Vilma is saying he has a right to, see who his accusers are,
right,
what evidence the NFL and Goodell has, and that has not been to light as far as Vilma's camp. Now, he's pushing the issue, and a magistrate, Daniel Knowles, responded and said that maybe he can get some of the evidence. I don't know. You make the call. Tiz, what are you talking about? Some? I mean, if you've got something against me, I want to know what it is.
Exactly.
And for some reason, the NFL is holding out on that, and there's more to file on this Bounty Gate. And a couple other players, they're suspended. Will Smith, 4 games. Free agent defenseman lineman Anthony Hargrove, 7 games. Cleveland linebacker Scott Fujita for 1 game. And from my understanding, he is out with a severe neck injury. I could be wrong. We're still waiting on facts with that, Big Tiz.
And pretty much, I think you are correct. But actually, you know what? I think we got our main man, Johnny B. Johnny B.
Johnny B, come on in.
I'm going to check him out to make sure it's Johnny B online. Yeah, we got him a little early. Let's see. Here we go.
Johnny B, are you there, bro?
What?
Ah, jeez.
Hey, Johnny, can you hear us? Because you sound like you're breaking up a little.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, we can hear you now. Let's keep it like that.
All right. What's up, guys?
Hey, just another week of fantasy fun with Johnny B's Fantasy.
Oh, yeah. I'm having a lot of fun this year with the fantasy football. What's going on?
Well, we're waiting for you, bro. What do you got for us? What's the word on the...
How about this? With about 1/3 of the season being over, I believe there's some things we're starting to see in the NFL. And what you saw last night was Peyton Manning hitting his stride. They're calling him the sheriff, and I believe this is a good name for him because he's the sheriff. He looked fantastic last night. The whole team, if you could get these Broncos on your team with McGahee, Decker, Stokely, get them. This is like a gold rush with these guys.
Well, I don't know if Peyton Manning didn't show up in the first half last night. You must have missed that part.
Listen, the guy came back from neck surgery. He's starting to find it. He's starting to get it. He's starting to get some cohesion with his receivers. It's his year. He'll throw up 30.
All right, Johnny B, we have to know who your studs and who your duds are. Let's start out with your studs this week. Who would you start if you had them?
Well, you know, we got studs out there. We all know who they are. But with the studs, I'm going to go with Stevie Johnson. I think it's time for him to score a touchdown and throw up a buck 30 against the Titans. My second stud is Cam Newton. It's about time he wakes up and smells the coffee. The Cowboys coming in, I think he's going to throw a couple to his boy Steve Smith, and he's going to do very well. Probably run well against the Cowboys with DeMarcus Ware breathing down his throat. The last guy the Packers look fantastic also, but you know Jordy Nelson's getting all the love, and I think it's time for James Jones to be this stud this week against the Rams.
What about Randall Cobb? Any word on Randall Cobb?
He's fantastic, but you know when you got the guys like Jordy Nelson and James Jones, and he loves that Jermichael Finley for some reason. Everything gets thrown to him, he drops, but he chops down the list a little bit. But I do like him. I like every Packer.
All right, now we got the studs out of the way. Johnny B, what about the duds? If you're on your team, you should. Let's talk. About guys.
I gotta tell you, I gotta throw a dud out there, and you're gonna probably start the guy because he's in the stud area, but I believe he's gonna be a dud this week. I think Marshawn Lynch going against this 49er team is gonna have a hard time. I think that after the Niners got spanked by the Giants, I think they're gonna be home this Thursday night. I think they're gonna be motivated, and I think they're gonna put the kibosh on Marshawn Lynch. Second, I got a lot of people that are starting to believe in Sean Green. He had a big week, but you know something? I think that the Colts, they played on so much emotion last week with their coach being sick. I think that they had a little letdown this week, and I think that Sean Green just took advantage of that. I think when they go to the Patriots this week, Sean Green's going to be held in check by that Belichick defense. Third is a guy we've been talking about, the LaShore fella from Detroit. I think the Bears clamped down on him. He's a starter at Detroit, but that Bear defense gets in there and slows him down this week.
Right. Now, if you've been watching the show lately, and if you're not been watching the show lately, this is Johnny B's Fantasy. This is the guy you need to listen to. This is the guy you need to talk to. If you have a fantasy team, you have issues like I do. Big Tibbs has huge issues. He has not won a game this year. So that's because we haven't, you haven't been on the show long enough. So I think he has a chance of winning a game maybe, I don't know, next month. I don't know, but
let me ask Johnny something real quick while he's on. Johnny, I want to ask you, what are some of the feelings like? You get some guys out here that are having problems on their teams, and so they fall prey to, I believe you referred to it before as vultures out there, fantasy vultures. What can they do about those guys?
You know, if you're having a rough year, you got no victories, you got one victory, you're having a hard time this year, I'm going to tell you something. Don't be susceptible to those fantasy vultures. They'll give you a call on the phone. They'll email you. They're going to try to give you 2 good players for your best player on your team. Don't fall for it. It's still early yet. You can make a run of 4 or 5 games. Pick up the waiver wire, guys. Try to hold on to your team. Don't give up yet. Once you start giving up, wait till you get deeper into the season. 7, 8 games, if you start losing, maybe you could make some deals then.
Hey, Johnny, information that could have been used to me a couple weeks ago, pal. Where were you? Hey,
you got vultured?
Listen, I got vultured. Don't shoot me, all right? I hope you're sitting down on this one, all right? I got rid of Percy Harvin and Vernon Davis for Rashard Mendenhall.
Listen, hang in there. Maybe you could find someone else that may have a lax moment in your league, and you could vulture him.
Well, listen to this. They're just one knee injury away, and Mendenhall, we already got his injuries out of the way. And you know what? For you Steeler fans at home, you better appreciate what I did because I gave up pretty much the farm for Mendenhall, and he better come clean this weekend.
Well, in fantasy football, no matter what team you like, you can't play fantasy football with your heart. You got to play with your brain. Keep that in mind.
a lot, pal.
Hey, Johnny, you know what? As always, brother, we want to thank you. Another great call from you. You guys out there who are in fantasy, you got to listen to this guy. This guy knows what he's talking about. Great guy. Johnny B, we love you. Hey, and your Seahawks looks like they're doing well. They had another big win this week. Wanted to tell you about that versus the Tom Brady and the Patriots.
No.
I'll tell you, I got to be honest, you got to go with it. I'm impressed with these rookies this year, too. The RG3, he looked great yesterday. Russell Wilson, or 2 nights ago, Russell Wilson, fantastic. And Mr. Luck with the Colts, a couple weeks ago, he put up some big numbers. Tannehill looks fantastic, awesome. These guys are coming right out of college, and they're ready for pro ball. They really are. But I got to get going, guys. Love you. God bless you, and you have a great night.
Good luck in San Fran next week. You're going to need it.
That was Johnny B.
Johnny B. All right, folks. All right, we're going to continue on. Before I do the scores, Big Tiz, we got to finish up the news here. And for you Giants fans, if you don't know already, I'm going to give a little news report for you here. Believe it or not, when the Giants were over in California playing the 49ers, they came out big, and so did the guys back home. What I mean by that is while the New York Giants were playing in California and their cars were parked in a locked facility in Jersey, guess what happened, Big T?
Somebody left it up too long.
We had a little vandalism. According to NBC New York, the cars were inside an iron fence covered by security cameras, Big T. The cars were not locked. However, a vehicle was stolen, and you'll never guess what kind. Idea?
I don't know. Cadillac,
a Navigator.
Urban.
No, I guess the hot car of the day was a 1996 Chevrolet Caprice.
Wow.
I don't know. Though the police didn't identify the players who were affected, one player on the Giants tweeted, Brewer tweeted his disappointment. And it goes as, only in Jersey can someone be heartless enough to break into my car while we're in Cali making fans proud. Geez, get your life straight in 2012, Big Ten.
Hey, I hear him there, boy. That's got to be rough. But you know what? Things happen, and like I said, these guys make a lot of money, so, yeah, I feel bad for them, but, hey, they'll get that back by the next paycheck.
96 Caprice.
Hey, but Big O, you know what? A lot of scores happening this week. So let's get the people to what they want to hear, the NFL score.
That's it, Big Tiz. Hey, last Sunday, Jets blow out the Colts 35-9. Dolphins 3 better than the Rams, 17-14. Lions win a thriller in OT against the Eagles 26-23. The Buffalo Bills squeak out a win with some free football in OT. Bills 19, Cardinals 16. The Buccaneers make the Chiefs walk the plank as we destroy them 38-10. The battle for Ohio continues, Big Ten. It's never going to be over with the Browns winning this one, ending their 5-game losing streak, beating the Bengals 34-24. Now, this is a huge game. The Ravens beat the Cowboys at home as the Cowboys missed a last-second field goal to lose. Ravens 31, Cowboys 29. But even though the Ravens won the game, Big Ten, they lost 3 players. Ray Lewis out for the season, torn triceps. And safety with Darius Webb, he's out with a torn ACL. And their nose tackle, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, he's out with a knee injury. Scary moment for you Atlanta Falcon fans as they had to come back to win at home against the Raiders 23-20. The Seahawks outlast Brady's Patriots in the thriller 24-23. The G-Men, the New York Football Giants, take care of the 49ers with a 26-3 win. RG3 and the rest of those crazy Redskins beat up on the Vikes 38-26. And the Packers, Aaron Rodgers throws for 6 TDs. I said 6 TDs, 338 yards as the Pack rope and tie the Texans 42-24. But let's not leave out that Monday night thriller. Peyton Manning and the Broncos pulled the plug on the Chargers last night, finally showing up for the second half as they come back from a 24-0 deficit at halftime to win 35-24. Rivers throws 4 picks, and Manning throws 3 TDs for the win. And, folks, this might have been a flashback for you Peyton Manning fans because he did something like this not similar, but more outrageous. A couple of years ago, I believe it was 2003, while I was wearing that Colts uniform. Colts down to the Buccaneers 35-14 with 4 minutes left to go in the game. Peyton Manning comes back, tie it up, OT, free football. Colts win 38-35, one of the greatest football comebacks Monday Night Football history.
Yeah, you got to love it. I mean, the game last night, woo! You know, I'm not really a Bronco fan or vice versa, but the fact is that they came out 24 points down, came out, won the game. Big ups to the Broncos. They did it. Peyton Manning, you won against us. We gave you that one. But hopefully you don't see us in the playoffs because things will be bad.
Like I said before, it says they come to Pittsburgh. They come to Heinz Field. Steeler fans, we win this game. We got Clark. We have Palomalo. We got Harrison. We got everybody. They come to Pittsburgh. You're done, Manning. You're done.
Well, you know what? Well, there were some other things that came out of the game. Actually, with the Dallas Cowboys and our neighboring Baltimore Ravens, a lot of injuries came out of that game, which, a lot of, I hate to say, kind of favors the Steelers for when we had that matchup coming. And one of the big things was the Ray Lewis injury.
Oh, yeah. Torn triceps. That, I think his career's over.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been with the league for a very long time. He's tough, but you know what? Tough can only get you so far.
Exactly.
Look at Troy Polamalu. This guy was indestructible.
Right.
Indestructible. We cannot destroy this guy. This guy would run into a brick wall, get hit by a tractor trailer, pop back up. He's ready to play the next play. You know what I'm saying, Big Tiz?
Yeah.
And now look, he's out with a calf injury. He cannot recover, just like he was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's a sad thing to see a player to his caliber go down like that. But you know what? Pittsburgh, we're playing with a lot of injuries ourselves, so we definitely know how the injury bug can bite someone and take full. And we see a lot of teams take full advantage of that on us. So the Ravens, hey, I hope you got all your cards and your decks all in a row because Pittsburgh is coming to town soon.
That's right. It's perfect time for us to play these Ravens. Maybe some of the offensive guys will get hurt like the Steelers. And we'll get into the fact that how we know how it feels to be hurting. And we'll refer later to our loss to the Titans last Thursday. At one point of the game, almost the whole starting offensive line was hurt. And we'll get back to that in a minute. But now let's get some Steeler news and updates, Big Tiz.
Definitely.
From Steeler camp, unfortunately, we have some bad news to report. Rookie nose tackle, Alameda Tamau. Now, folks, if you've been watching the news, this is no news story for you. This guy messed his life up, and he messed it up good. 22-year-old rookie, signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers. His life was pretty much set. Unfortunately, he hasn't played a game this year yet, Big Tiz, because he's hurt. And here's what happened. He was arrested over the weekend on several charges. We're not talking, we didn't make a mistake, Big Tiz. We didn't speed through a school sign. We didn't, he didn't, he wasn't drunk. He got pulled over, and that was it. What had happened was he was in the party district,
right?
And I guess Mr. Tomau had a couple drinks too many.
Oh, boy.
You shouldn't be driving. If you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink. A young mistake. This happens. We talked about this a couple shows ago about how these young kids come up and they're basically dumped money on their lap. They don't know what to do with it. They've never had a job in their life. But not trying to get away from the topic, an off-duty police officer called in an erratic driver. Police responded. He took off. He fled. He was scared.
Right.
He was worried. In doing so, he almost ran over 3 police officers.
Wow.
He ran into 3 parked cars. One, in fact, had people in it sitting down. I think the woman was having some pizza with her friend or whatnot. And then the vehicle finally crashed. He jumps out of the vehicle and he makes a run for it.
Wow.
Police have to get him, tackle him, almost to the point where he had to be tased. Now, this is no little guy. 6'3", 345 pounds would not fit in a police car. Couple handcuffs to get him cuffed, and they had to get the paddy wagon. Now, Ted, we're talking 3 felonies, 10 misdemeanors, and multiple traffic law infractions.
Wow.
Now, the Steelers are not rushing to judgment here. You know what I'm saying, Because
I hear you.
we don't want you to. We all make mistakes. Good people do bad things. However, not when you're a Pittsburgh Steeler. You don't do this stuff. And right now, the Rooney's put him on unpaid suspension for 2 weeks
Right.
He can't come to the facility. So pretty much he was bailed out, $25,000 bond. Having this on your resume is not good. And we all know how the Roonies are. We're family. We'll give you a chance, but you know what? This is one chance I don't see the Roonies, doing anything with. I think all you fans out there, kiss them goodbye. And while we're on the subject of kissing people goodbye, the Steelers also announced today that tight end Wesley Saunders, a second-year undrafted free agent out of South Carolina, was released. Now, if you all remember, Saunders was suspended for the first 4 games of the season due to, we all know, the substance abuse policy or whatever that the NFL has implemented, which is a great plan. He's released, and sorry to see you go, but you know what? We have a plethora of tight ends, and then we'll work that way. Now, let's get into some good news, Steelers good news, okay, Big Kids, before we go to commercial. Heath Miller, our beloved tight end Heath Miller, his jersey was retired from the University of Virginia over the weekend. It's number 89 in a halftime ceremony against the Maryland Terrapins.
Epic, beautiful.
And for to have your jersey to be retired is a dream. That's a great thing to have in your resume when you go to the Hall of Fame. And I see Heath Miller getting into the Hall of Fame someday. Not because I have his jersey, no. Not because he's a Steeler, no. Because he's a great football player. He's clutch, someone you can rely on if you get him the ball. And last but not least, Big Ben, congratulations to you for surpassing Terry Bradshaw, no pun intended, surpassing him as the all-time Steelers passing leader. Now, he did this on a 17-yard completion to Heath Miller in the third quarter.
Right.
And here's another big thing, Big Kids, and folks at home. If you're keeping score, if you're writing this down, it took Big Ben only 119 games to do this, 49 games less than it took Terry Bradshaw to do that. So, you know what, Ben? We just want to say thank you for all you do, and congratulations goes out to you, and we want to thank you so much. We pay these bills, Big Kids.
Hey, we'll pay these bills. When we come back, we're going to also talk about some of the game stats from the Titan game, which was a nightmare, so we're going to try to forget them and get through them quickly for all you Steeler fans out there.
Very quickly. We'll be back after this.
SteelerNationLive.net. It's live. Join Big O, Big City, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. He hears only in-depth analysis of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Game review, injury report, intrigue, releases, fantasy stats, rumors. Anything and everything you want to know about the black and gold.
Hey guys, we had to spring that on you guys. New commercial for SteelerNationLive.net. And let's jump back to the Titans game. The Titans game, you know what? Horrific with the way the Steelers played. I mean, they had a good first half. I don't know if I can call it good. I can call it okay.
I wouldn't call it good or okay. I'd call it playing down to your opponent who was 1-4 at the time. So actually, when both teams are playing the same, you can't really project how your team is actually doing, except for the fact if they were crushing them and killing them, that'd be one thing.
Right.
But it's not. Because, I'm a big stat guy, and really, there's really not too much to talk about as far as stat-wise, because it was a mediocre game, and we ended up losing this game. But, Ben had a Ben day, 24 for 40 for 363 yards, 1 TD, and he unfortunately did have that one interception. It wasn't a sloppy interception. It's when you try to force the ball certain times, you're going to have interceptions. And you got to try and make something happen. You just can't sit back there and get sacked all the time. So he did pretty good. Isaac Redman, huge stand-up. 4 receptions for 105 yards. Isaac Redman, running back. This was after he got hurt.
Wow.
So, yeah, our top rusher was Baron Batch with 22 yards on 10 carries, I believe.
Well, I mean, a lot of it, too. The Steelers, they came out, and it seemed like they were trying to play the game a certain way and certain things were happening, but, not to their advantage. But the Steelers they got to be resilient and get through these things. And like I said, the run game is still struggling, which is unbelievable. But Mendenhall played maybe a small quarter of the game, and he left out. And these other guys that come in, you have to step up. You can't just come into a game and basically play, I don't know, just enough to win. I mean, you got to put out more effort.
Just a couple things that I picked up on watching the game Thursday night, because we don't have that killer instinct anymore. It was all natural. The team was always firing off on defense. Offense, a little suspect, but on defense, the team was already pumped up. We lost that killer instinct. And unending injuries, because we had 8 injuries during the Titan game.
Right.
8 stars again. And a lot of talk, Swisham missing the field goal late in the game that could have won for the Steelers. And, you gotta be an idiot to put this blame on Swisham, who's been 100% up to this point. You can't really go into this type of situation on the road, cold weather, not to make excuses, but I just don't understand the fact why anybody would put the blame on Swisham. It's a team effort. You win as a team, you lose as a team. And there was a couple standout players too, because that I saw. You could probably agree upon. Isaac Redmond,
right?
Ryan Clark, hurt, came back into the game. Mike Wallace, that long bomb touchdown. Mike Wallace, fantasy, gave me some points. Heath Miller, Allen, and Worlds. He started stuff on defense. But you know what? Ike Taylor still can't cover anybody. I want you to tweet us, call in the show, talk to us, brother. What's going on? Hook us up with some knowledge. We need to know, or you need to go. Something's got to come up. And, Big Ben surpassed Terry Bradshaw with the passing record.
Right.
And if you didn't notice, or if you watched the show and on TV, you look at the crowd, and you would see all those terrible towels fly. Pittsburgh has one of the greatest team fan bases in the NFL, and I'm not just saying it because I'm a Steelers fan.
Yep, actually, they said that on a game last night. They said that the Steelers and the Packers are the most well-traveled teams in the NFL. And you wouldn't think it would be the Cowboys, but I don't think so. They're slowly slipping way down the ladder.
Oh, boy.
We do want to thank the Cowboys for taking care of some of our arch enemies for us, though. We do want to thank you for that, though.
You know what, Big Ted? It's been a long time since our Steeler hater, the Cowboy fan, was on. It's been a long time since I made any comments about cops, the show, Dallas Cowboys fans getting arrested, all that stuff. But you know what? We want to thank you, for one thing, for making our division a little easier to deal with now that we have a couple of huge injuries to our foes from the Ravens. So
exactly.
Steeler hater, call in, talk to us. It's been a long time.
And we're waiting on you.
Oh, we're waiting on you. Waiting on you.
Well, now the Steelers in the game against the Titans, the Roethlisberger did pass for 363 yards and a touchdown. And but I mean, other than Roethlisberger doing his usual, putting it fast forward for the guys, no one else showed up in that game.
Well, you know what? Here's a big stat that I do want to say, and it's going to be unbelievable though. Pittsburgh only penalized 4 times for 50 yards. I don't know. Did the referees go home after the second quarter? I don't know. Because Steelers are averaging 9-point-something penalties a game, and that's ridiculous. And we're talking mental problems. We're talking, just not thinking, not being into the game. And you know what? Not to put any blame. Last show we talked about Steelers are 2-2. Is this time to panic? Is Mike Tomlin on the hot seat? I believe he is right now. With a 2-3 record, I'll talk about that later when I rant and rave on my final thoughts. But other than that, that's pretty much what we got for game stats. If you want to go, we can go straight to the injury report because
let's do it.
Oh boy, do we ever thank Kathy Buckle out there for the leader of Steeler Nation fan club? Did we ever do that? Let's get some positives in here. Kathy, thank you, Steeler Nation, fan club, McGinney's Sports Club, 2246 East River Road here in Rochester, New York. That's where we're coming to you live from Steeler Nation Live in Rochester, New York. Weather report is cold and somewhat rainy this evening, Big Tim.
Oh, boy.
But you know what? It's going to warm up tomorrow and Thursday. It's going to be in the 70s, but we're going to have rain here in Rochester. So, with all that being said, let's get right to the injury report. Now, last Thursday, we all know Palomalu and Woodley, they were out. But during that game, first to go was center Marquise Pouncey.
Right.
Unbelievable injury. Next to go was Marcus Gilbert, guard. Then tackle Ramon Foster. Then it just started the domino effect. Mendenhall, Achilles. Let's see. Isaac Redmond, another leg injury. Linebacker Chris Carter. Safeties Ryan Clark and Will Allen. However, Will Allen and Clark managed to get back in the game playing injured. Good job, guys. And Gilbert came back in as an emergency role, and he was still hurt playing. Now, folks at home, you know, I'm a little nervous too because I traded away the world to get Mendenhall. He gave me 1 point last week against the sorry Titans run defense. But it's only an Achilles, not only, but his Achilles tendon was just felt tight. And I believe the Steelers did a right thing by taking him out of the game to stretch that. Because Achilles done, you're done, your career's done. Over. Palomalu is expected to be out no sooner than Halloween, the 31st of October, which means we might see him in November.
Right.
So, and Pouncey's injury, that's related to his MCL. I don't think he's going to play Sunday in Cincy. But Legursky did say, he did tweet, he did say that he knows his role as backup center. And just because his backup role, he's going to play 100%. He's going to try not to get hurt because Tiz, you're going to have to go there and you're going to have to hike the ball to Roethlisberger because we have nobody left. Keith Miller might be the next guy in line to snap the ball.
Wow.
But, you know, because... and let's do the injury report for Sunday's game in Cincy. Mendenhall, questionable. Okay. Isaac Redmond, probable. Marquise Pouncey, we'll just call him out for now. If he plays, he plays. But Woodley, he's probable with the hamstring. He didn't play Thursday, like I said earlier, but he said he's going to play in Cincy Sunday. Chris Carter, questionable. Palomalu, they've got him listed as doubtful, Big Tiz, but they say doubtful, I say outful. He's out. He's not going to play. And getting back, a lot of folks at home probably don't know this, but if you're a Steeler fan like we are and you're really into it, if we would have lost another running back, guess who would have been in the role? Casey Hansen was the next in line. Believe it or not, you follow front office. Casey Hansen
98
was the next guy in line to fill in because you know what, folks? We had Chris Rainey, we had Baron Batch, and we had Casey Hansen.
Right.
So that's it for that. So
I mean, like I said, the list for Pittsburgh gets longer and longer for the injured, and we just got to get through it. I mean, it's going to be a long season, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. If we can muster through this rough patch, the Steelers can make it and possibly get into the playoffs, which we're trying to do. And if we can get to that point and possibly be healthy at that point, boy, would that be something. And it'd be a danger to be out there, especially with a Ravens team that are short on the players.
Oh boy, but you know, if you really look at the Ravens defense, they really haven't been that good, even with Ray Lewis and Webb in there. They've given up a lot of rushes, a lot of points on the ground as well as in the air. So Reed can't do it all by himself.
True, very true, very true.
You see what I'm saying, Big Tiz? But we have to have if our defense steps up when we play the Ravens and takes care of business, we're going to destroy them.
Exactly.
Last week, I wasn't too sure about that, but knowing what our offense is capable of doing, if we execute, we can destroy anybody in this league.
Hey, you know what, guys? When we come back, we're going to come back and we're going to give you guys an update on what's going to go on for the next game when the Steelers play the Cincinnati Bengals. Should be an epic game. Hopefully the Steelers can do it Sunday night at 8:30. But we'll talk about that once we get back here on Steeler Nation Live.
Pay those bills, Tiz.
McGinney Sports Pub, located at 2246 East River Road. Perfect blend of Irish charm and Italian cuisine. From Calabria favorites like calamari to chicken French to the new signature dish like Steel City Deli.
The Rockless Burger.
Everything is delicious and prepared fresh for you. They offer a full lineup of your favorite beverages with drink specials daily. And don't forget their $5 Monster Bomb.
Ice cold beer.
All day, every day. With 2 floors of seating and 20 high-def televisions, it's not a bad seat in the house to catch every minute of NFL action.
Watch what you want.
McGinney is the official home of the Rochester Steelers fan club.
Steelers!
So come on down to McGinney Sports Club, 2246 East River Road in Henrietta.
At Grease Lightning, we offer fast automotive service, specializing in oil changes and auto repairs. We offer a convenient and comprehensive maintenance and repair service, fast and no appointment necessary. At Grease Lightning, we offer the best prices on top name brands. We get you in, out, and on your way, just like Grease Lightning. Grease Lightning is locally owned and operated, so come on down to 2061 Chiley Avenue here in Rochester and talk to Charles because he's in charge. You can also call Charles at 585-563-7939 or go to our website at mygrease.
Still a Nation Live. Hey, you know what? One thing we did want to push out to you guys tonight is actually we wanted to come up with a hot topic, and we wanted to let you guys know how we felt about it and get some feedback from you guys. Now, what we're trying to wonder is we're trying to compare the wide receivers to this day and age right now to the wide receivers to back in the day. You know, like the Fred Biletnikovs, even the Jerry Rices. He was a little bit from that age.
Don't forget Lynn Swann, John Stallworth.
Exactly. Those type of guys.
Benny Cunningham.
Let me ask you this. How would those guys from back in the day fare in the NFL in today's game, just like these guys that are out here right now, like the Roddy Whites and the Mike Wallace from Pittsburgh? I mean, how do you think these guys would fare in today's NFL game?
Well, because we could thank Mel Blount, one of the greatest cornerbacks in NFL history. Just because of him, these rules were implemented. As far as you couldn't touch the receiver, you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that, you couldn't even look at him. You can't do that nowadays.
Right.
And because of that, I think they wouldn't last. They wouldn't make it.
No, especially like the receivers from back in the day, they were more physical. And these guys now, I mean, you can't touch them after 5 yards, and if you do, there's a penalty. The guys from back in the day, let's even say like Jerry Rice from earlier on, or even like you said, Lynn Swann or Fred Biletnikovs or those guys.
Stallworth.
Yeah, John Stallworth. Those guys were beat up all the way down the field, and these guys made good yards, made good careers. These guys now, they couldn't deal with that right now.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, it's almost like soccer. You know, you bump into somebody, you flop, and then you're expecting a penalty. So there's no way that these receivers could get the yardage because any defender touches you, they know it, but you blow right by them, and you'll be wide open. That's all you do is just run flies.
Exactly. And like I said, the receivers today, I don't believe that they could transgress back into the old style of football because it would be too physical for them. You know what? Actually, while we're on this topic, we did have a text that came in. I know I'm going to answer that text. It says, I have a question. Why would the Steelers suspend Tom Mahu, then say the suspension will be lifted in time for him to play? So where's the punishment? And that is a good question.
Well, you know what? From what I've heard and from what I've seen around in the Steeler headquarters, as far as a suspension being lifted, it's not on the table right now. What is on the table right now is his career and future with the Pittsburgh Steelers. While he is being suspended without pay and unable to attend any meetings or even go to the facility, this looks like it's the end of the line for him because the Rooneys will not tolerate this. And like I said earlier, good people make mistakes, Big Tiz. And, some people might have a problem. Yet some people might get behind the wheel of a car and drive drunk, get pulled over, get arrested. Hines Ward ran into that certain situation too, dealt with. He's flourishing. Hines Ward did not flee the police. Hines Ward did not almost run over 3 police officers. Hines Ward did not crash into 3 cars. Hines Ward did not resist arrest.
Right.
I mean, there's different circumstances that happen with different players. We all know players take legal drives. Some people might get arrested for, I don't know, stealing stuff that, it boggles the mind. These guys have all this money. Why would they do that? We make mistakes. But what he did, he totally crossed the line. He just wasn't pulled over. Oh, I've been drinking and driving, and that's it. It's like a totally different scenario above them all. I don't want to compare it to murdering somebody, but I mean, there's no justification to what he did. Okay, there is none. And the Rooneys, I don't care how good of a football player you are, the Rooneys are not gonna. You can't. There's no treatment for this. Alcohol treatment, perhaps, but what he did after the fact, that's inexcusable.
I agree with you. Exactly.
So as far as being reinstated to play, he hasn't played a game yet this season because of injuries, and because of that, that's right there. You're gone. Bye. And if the Steelers don't let this guy go, I'll be very shocked.
Yeah, bad news for him, but like I said, he's a young player, and they do make mistakes, and hopefully he will learn from this. So hopefully they'll go on from there. But you know what? Let's catch up and let's get right to the matchup with the Steelers going into Cincinnati Sunday. Steelers banged up again, back in here, another situation to where they're basically fighting for their lives.
You know, Big Tiz, it's funny you should mention this. It's not a lost cause, and I'll tell you why. We're the only team in our division who has not played anybody else in the division. So that means we can sweep the division. I know it sounds ridiculous, but folks, let's say it like it is. It can be done, and not just because we want it to be done or we hope it can be done. Just a couple things the Steelers have to do to make this happen, and we're going to start in Cincinnati on Sunday. Okay, what we have to do, Big Tiz, we have to put pressure on Dalton. Because if we don't, he's a good quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. But what he has A.J. Green. I think one of the best receivers in NFL today. Now, if we can't get pressure on Dalton, he's going to throw the ball to him all day, all long.
Exactly.
Because Troy's not there. We have Ryan Clark. He's been doing a great job in his absence, but Ryan Clark can't do it all. And in fact, Big Tiz, he's still hurt from last game. All right? Now, with that being said, we take him out of the game. Now, they got the law firm. Ben Jarvis, Green Allen, it's a law firm. We stopped him, as we did when he played for New England. Like the times we beat New England. This is the pattern. This is what we had to do. This is what they did. They put pressure on Brady. He couldn't get the ball. Timing was off. We stopped the law firm. We stopped the rushing game, and then we had to worry about the tight end. Now, don't be fooled, folks. Fantasy guys, Gresham, you don't have him on your team, a fantasy tight end, but this guy will kill you because if the passing game goes down for Dalton, the running game goes down for the law firm, he's got to go to somebody. Now, you take 1 and 2, you get that out of the picture, you key on Gresham, pretty much it's in the game. We'll put the ball in Ben's hand, let the offense win it. Now, another thing we have to do, when I said earlier about pressure with Dalton, blitz, blitz, blitz. Now, if you didn't pick it up like I did when the Steelers beat the Eagles, Dick LeBeau had a bunch of new blitzing schemes, and he ran them all down Vic's throat. And did it help? Absolutely. We forced 5 fumbles, right? Recovered 2, right? Why? Pressure. He's a running quarterback. We keep him contained in the pocket. He doesn't know what to do. Now, let's put the ball on the other side to the offense. Red zone, red zone, red zone. We cannot give up red zone opportunities. It's like a free throw in a basketball game to win it. It's pretty much right there. You're going to get points. All right? You know how I feel about field goals, folks. I'm not going to repeat it. Tiz knows. You all know if you listen and watch the show before, they're okay. We want touchdowns. Touchdowns win games. We have to establish the run to set up the pass. Now, we all know that Ben can do it. We all know he's got a plethora.
I like the word.
I can't spell it, but I love to say it. A plethora of wide receivers at his beck and call. Now, if we set up this run game and then we go to the pass, we are unstoppable. I don't care what you say, folks. Write it down. It's the truth. We have to keep the Bengals offense off the field. Like any team. I don't care if you're bad or you're good. You keep them off the field. You control the clock. you win games. And no stupid penalties. We cannot afford any false starts. We can't afford any holding, because when we do establish that run, we cannot bring anything back like the 124-yard that Mendenhall had last week. Come back, that's a first down. Now we're 3rd and 15 as opposed to first down and 10 at their 20-yard line in the red zone. We have to stop the penalties. And you know what, that's all going down on the coach. We're going to talk about that later. Now, since I looked up the stats compared to each team, and you know what, looking at the numbers are what they are.
Right.
And not to bore you to death about these numbers, pretty much they're all comparable. Steelers match up with the Bengals pretty much evenly. And, you know, like I said, I'm not going to bore you with the stats on that one because it's what they do on the field, and that's what's going to matter.
Well, I think the main thing, too, also as well, the Bengals, they're a good team, but like I said, the Steelers have to apply that pressure, and that's what the Steelers have been lacking lately, is putting pressure on quarterbacks. Because actually, we did have Carson Palmer from the Raiders. We made him look like an all-pro. That's because the pressure was not there. Apply the pressure, and damage will be done. Actually, the New York Giants made a good groundwork of how you apply pressure. They did it to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. If you watch the Super Bowl, you see how pressure disrupts, and especially with a young quarterback such as the quarterback for the Bengals, Dalton, this will cause all kind of issues. And that's the thing. If you cause issues with a disruption in the pass rush, he will not have time to find these other receivers, and that way you lock up the 2 outside receivers, and we do have good linebackers. Put the linebackers on Gresham. They're heavy low workload tight end, and things will get done. Pittsburgh has to win this game. This is a must-win game for Pittsburgh, no matter which way you look at it, because it's got to get better. If it doesn't get better, it'll get worse, and it will get worse quick.
That's absolutely right, because it doesn't matter who's the quarterback on the other team. If you don't put pressure on with our cornerbacks, our safeties, we're in deep trouble. We have to stop the pass. We need to give those guys all the help we can do. We have to, or we're not going to win this game.
Hey, guys, when we come back from the commercial, we're going to actually let you hear some of our final thoughts for this weekend's game and some of our final thoughts on things that's going on around the NFL in Pittsburgh. And you know what? It's just got to be said. Right now, it's a hard time in Pittsburgh, but we all got to stick together because you know who we are. We are Steelers fans, hard to the core.
Critics Restaurant, 906 West Main Street, Rochester, New York. Critics is the ultimate in family breakfast dining. And if you're a Steeler fan, hey, you found the right place, Critics Restaurant. Critics Restaurant has been a neighborhood fixture in Rochester, New York for over 40 years. Good food, good fun. Critics Restaurant, 906 West Main Street. Come check us out.
Uniform Express, located on 1408 Buffalo Road, Rochester, New York, for your police, fire, or EMS supplies. One of Rochester's top and finest suppliers of shirts, pants, shoes, boots, and accessories for your professional uniform needs. Uniform Express also does embroidery and screen print for team uniforms, jerseys, and corporations. Hours are on Mondays and Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also go to their website at www.uniformexpress.com or call Brian at 585-529-4245. That's 585-529-4245. And let Brian know you heard his ad on our show, Steeler Nation Live. Hey, welcome back to Steeler Nation Live from Rochester, New York, where it's Seattle, it's raining. Get out your Starbucks, get out your coffee, folks. Let's do that website one more time, Big Tez, www.steelernationlive.net.
Yep.
Check us out on the web.
And if you want to go to our audio site, you go to www.talkshoe.com and search Steeler Nation. Actually, while we're broadcasting now, you will find us on that first front page there, Steeler Nation Live. Hit on it, and like I said, if you want to get in, call the number 724-444-7444. Hit caller ID number 115243. Hit the pound key. Hit 1 and pound for guests, and you are in. And actually, we had one text that came in on the board, which was a good one. And a lot of people thought of it. He said he thought it was BS about Andy Reid firing Juan Castillo today, and that's a good one. Actually, we had some information on that just as well.
Well, you know what, Big Tez, getting back to the story, The team's got to do what the team's got to do. And, you know, it's this thing called a scapegoat, okay? You got to blame somebody. And since, from the reports where I've read about his firing, this came during the game when they gave up the 10 points and to the Lions and went in overtime and lost the game. And he was fired that game. So I don't know what if every team did what the Eagles did, then you had a lot of new coaches out there. You have to stick with your players, especially if there's somebody that's been with the team for 18 years. All right, give the guy some respect. You can't really. If you're going to start firing people, you got to fire the offense coordinator. You got to bench your quarterback. Okay. For the amount of if the guy's not throwing interceptions, he's giving the ball away. He's handing it off. Why is Vic not being benched? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe Michael Vick is some of the problem, but he's not all of the problem. And I don't know. You know, there are a lot of good things that quarterbacks do go through. You know, when they struggle to find themselves in a season, and this could be it for right here for Michael Vick. But if Mike doesn't produce this year, I think they're going to look a good hard look at trying to pick up a quarterback this offseason.
Well, they should start looking at Andy Reid right now because once they're going through the list of coaches, he's next to go. I don't see them firing an offensive coordinator because if they didn't do it now, I don't think they will. Let's get this guy out of here, the defensive coordinator, because we're losing games. How about we figure out why we're losing games, number one. Number two, how about we figure out what is going wrong on the offensive side of the ball? Are we scoring a lot of points, but the defense is giving up more, and that's why we're losing? What was the score of the Lions game? I can't remember. 13-10?
Right. There was
16-13? I could see if your offense is putting up 35 points, 28 points, and your defense is doing the same, hey, he's got to go. But when your offense is barely making double-digit scores, why are you firing your defensive coordinator? Are you getting blown out?
Right.
No. Well, look at the games that they won. They were 3-1 at some point, and they won by late-second field goals. They won by just cheesy wins. I mean, but a win is a win. Decide how many games you lost. It doesn't describe each win. It doesn't describe each loss. However, I don't understand it, like I just said, because if your defense is getting blown out of the water, if you're not coming up with turnovers, you don't fire your defensive coordinator. You have to go to the offense first. If they're not putting up points, you're out.
Hey, well, you know what? Let's step on our final thoughts for the night for the Steeler Nation.
Oh, boy, time to get out there. You know what, Big Tiz? I'll let you go first.
Okay. All right.
That way,
you know what that means.
When I'm on my rant, you can just turn me off, and then that'll be the show. But go ahead, big brother.
Hey, guys, you know what? My final thoughts are that the Steelers are in a rough place right now. We're 2-3, and there are a lot of things that the Steelers need to change. And one thing, you know, we had the bye week, and we didn't remedy too much things. So right now, the Steelers have to be looking at themselves, and especially that secondary. That secondary has to take a long look. These guys right now are at a pace to where they can't cover anybody. And when you got guys like Carson Palmer looking like all pros against you, there are issues. So one of the things I think we need to do is take a long look at the secondary. And also, one thing is that the Steelers need to definitely muster that run game. And if these guys got to sit there for 8 hours and learn how to block, then you got to do what you got to do to make it work, because the run game opens up everything else. No matter which way you look at it, it's not always the passing game. You got to have a reliable run game. So the Steelers, they have a lot of work ahead of them to do. It's too bad that they have to do it in the middle of the season, but that's where we set ourselves at. With a record of 2-3 and going into Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's a formidable opponent, the Steelers have a lot of work to do. So, like I said, these wins have to continue, especially with the Baltimore Ravens looming, and the Baltimore Ravens right now sitting at 5-1, even with injured players. So that's my take on tonight.
Wow, it is. All right, you said that in a nutshell. How can I top that? But you know what? Let me give it a shot. All right. As you put it so eloquently, Big Tiz, we are 2-3, and that puts us 2 games behind the Ravens and 1 game behind the Bengals, where we're going to Cincinnati on Sunday. The team's lack of success this year is, I believe, attributed to, not making excuses, to all the injuries. We saw what happened against the Titans. We lost 8 guys. all right, to injuries, and that's not going to get us anywhere going forward in the future. The steel curtain is now allowing an average 23 points a game. They said that's up 14 points from last year. 14, that's 2 whole touchdowns. That's games right there. And teams coming into Pittsburgh or teams at home playing us are no longer scared of defense. They're doing plays at will. And the thing that's most frustrating to me, Tiz, and I'm sure the fans out there can agree, it's not just the penalties, the mistakes, the miscues. It's but the repetition of the same penalties, the same miscues. Losing on the road, we're 0-3 on the road so far, because and that's not a good set you want to have. You want to be able to win it on the road, right, just in case when you come home and make some mistakes at home, you'll have that cushion back there. Blowing fourth quarter leads. Whew, that's ridiculous. Committing key penalties, we touched base on that a little earlier. Being unable to put teams away, like these 1-4, now 2-4 Titans, we should have destroyed them on their own turf. And playing to these teams that are subpar or with losing records, and once again, in key situations, the Steelers' defense is falling apart like a trailer park in a tornado, Big Tiz.
Oh, that's
It's a disaster. It's a disgrace. Mike Tomlin needs to step up, Big Tiz. He needs to step up and be the coach. And you know what? Like I said before, last week, he's not on a hot seat. He's on a hot seat right now. And I'll tell you what, Big Tiz, the coach is the guy who gets the team going. You don't really need a motivator if you're already motivated. But since we can see the lack of motivation and the lack of desire for these Steelers to come out there and not play, I'm putting the blame on you, Mike Tomlin. You need to step it up. On the shoulders. Heavy. But you know what? You took this job. And Pittsburgh is no joke. This is a 6-time Super Bowl defending champion team. We have a lot of history, a lot of integrity behind the black and yellow. You need to step it up, Mike Tomlin. You need to light the fire on something. And as bad as the defense has been playing, you, Mike Tomlin, you have to get this team ready to play. Obviously, they're not going to do it for you, so you need to step up and do it for them. And one more final note. Whoa. Ike Tyler cannot cover his shadow.
So I tell you, if you're out there, hey, give us a shout one day, like I said, or leave a comment in the box. You know, no swearing. But anyway, leave a comment. But anyway, hey, guys, you know what? We enjoyed you guys. You know what? We had another great show tonight. You guys over here texting on the board like crazy. Texting about all kind of comments. But, hey, we love it. But you know what? There's another show coming up this week, and the Steelers are going to be at Cincinnati Bengals this weekend. So hopefully we can come out there with a win, and the next show will be at least a happy show for us instead of talking about all this dismal stuff. But you know what? You got it from Big Tiz
and Big O. Look at that, folks at home. This is what we got ready waiting for us when we end this show. All thanks to McGinney's Sports Pub, Bar, and Grill. 2246 East River Road, Rochester, New York. Come on out, see Big Sal. Tell him to take care of you with that delicious food. I know he will.
Yeah. Shout out to Big Tiz, man. And Big O. Still a nation, man. Yeah. Big Tiz. Big O. You know what it is, man. Still a nation, man. Big O. Big Tiz. Every night on Monday night, man. Hey. 7 to 8 on Monday night. Big O. Big Tiz. Big O. And this is the nation. Big Tiz. Big O. Big Tiz. Big O. Still a nation. Big Tiz. Big O, Big Tiz, Big O, still a nation, man. Yeah, Mr. Strong, Big O. Yeah, I had to say it was strong, man. You know, it is strong, man. Yeah, Big Tiz, Big O, Big Tiz, Big O. Yeah.
Call recording has been completed.